沛纳海在2026年 Watches and Wonders 表展，不止新表很有讨论话题，展场布置也非常吸睛，能比例还原1966年为意大利海军打造的军事潜水池，强化沛纳海和意大利海军的紧密连接。这一集我们来看看今年的沛纳海推出了哪些重点新款。
The first watches have a strong historic inspiration because they are a tribute to the iconic 6152/1 reference from the 60s, the one that today we know and we call luminor, that is the inspiration of this new model like the 1731 that has a 44mm case. The original case was 47mm size from the case, the dial, the dome sapphire that was inspired by the perspex plexiglass like the past, the strap with a vintage construction. All the watches have a end-wound caliber like PANERAI watches in the last century, because since 1935 till 1985 PANERAI was producing only watches with the end-wound caliber. The 1731 presented with this tobacco dial with the sandwich construction, and then we have the left-handed version, the luminor destro. Since the divers of the Italian Navy were wearing on the left wrist compass or depth gauge, they had to wear the watch on the right side in order to facilitate any kind of operation on the ground. So PANERAI is about functional design, it's about professional tool watches where form follow function. And then these are equipped with a 3 days end-wound caliber, and we have also a luminor 44mm 8 giorni, where 8 giorni stands for 8 days, with a brunito finishing. Brunito finishing is this aged effect made with the PVD physical vapor deposition coating, and give this aged, pre-scratch, pre-used look. Vintage look on the 44mm size, and then we have as well a 47mm case, always with the same finishing like the historic one, polished case, brush bridge, but in this case a dial that is inspired by the tropical dial from the past. As I was mentioning, it's about heritage, performance, because we continue to innovate. Our objective is to continue to inject creativity and innovation in our collection, always by respecting and honoring our history and our DNA. And we are presenting two new materials that are the forged titanium and the Afniotech. The forged titanium is made combining two different grades of titanium, the titanium grade 2 and the titanium grade 5, and give this wavy effect. It looks like the Damascus steel, but is nickel free compared to the Damascus steel. It is very light and highly resistant to corrosion. This one on a 47mm case, completely polished with this anthracite dial that keep a vintage look but with innovative material and a very interesting feature for the final clients. And then another innovation is for the first time in the watch industry, we have the Afniotech. Afniotech, this case, is made of 95% of hafnium. Hafnium is a very rare material, listed also as a strategic by US government, is used on the nuclear submarine, is highly resistant to corrosion. Actually, I would say is completely resistant to corrosion. That is a feature that is very important for PANERAI watches because they are used underwater. And as you can see, the case is a singular silver gray color. We use with the sunblast finishing. The material is very dense, so it's very heavy and is very unique, and is associated to this limited edition, associated to an experience with the Navy SEALs. It's a submersible 47mm with 1000 meter water resistant GMT. This is the result of the work of our team in Neuchâtel. We have a team of engineers and watchmakers whose job is to scout and test materials that are coming from other industries. And it was a big achievement to have this watch, and then you cannot feel it, but it's very heavy, it's really a tool watch, an instrument on your wrist. A new material is a way of innovating. Innovation is part of the history of the brand. I cannot say that every year we present a new material, but every year we continue to work on new materials, because when you scout materials that are coming from other industries, then there is also a high level of failure, because not all the material are then arrive till the end because of the test, the homologation phase. What is very important is the benefit for the client to be relevant as associated to our strong identity. 2 years ago we launched the Helux where luminosity was key, because luminosity is linked to our history. The long power reserve was linked to our history. When Giuseppe Panara in 1956, by answering the demand of the Italian Navy, was thinking, if I put a movement with a long power reserve on a wristwatch, they don't have to rewind the watch every day. So the less we manipulate the crown, the less we create a tension on the crown, and the longer is the life of the watch. It means that you can wind the watch only 12 times per year. So it's presenting novelties and innovation that are relevant to our history. 7 years of development behind. The idea power reserve is part of the history of PANERAI, with the first 8 days power reserve used since 1956, then the first in-house caliber with 8 days power reserve. The idea was to move from 1 week to 1 month. A watch where winding the watch without any tool, no corrector on the watch, and then to have a watch easy to use, where the functionality, easy to read, functionality is key and the precision is key. And we've been able to reach the result that we have today thanks to a construction with 4 barrels. 4 barrels with a mainspring that is 3.3 meters long in a 44 millimeter watch, so 3.3 meters long mainspring. And that the watch has actually 36 days power reserve. But thanks to a system that has been developed and patented by PANERAI, that is the torque limiter, it limited the torque to avoid that the watch is fully wound, has too much power, and when avoid that the rate is too fast. And it has as well the automatic stop. In this case, we can select the best 31 days power reserve. So precision is key. We have only 128 turns of the crown to fully wind the watch. Why I'm saying only 128? Because usually in a watch that has 8 days power reserve is almost 100 turns. So moving from 8 days, 100 turns to 128 turns for 31 days is a big achievement. It's a very unique edition of 200 pieces, limited edition. The manufacturer is going to produce only 10 pieces per month on such a special watch.
今年的沛纳海在历史、材质和技术上都有所突破。那么沛纳海的下一步会朝向什么样的方向前进呢？
Is to continue to do what we are doing. You know, the beauty is that with my job, I know already what we are going to launch next year, what we are going to launch in 2 years' time. At least I can see the future for PANERAI. Then we can adjust, but the collection of the future are planned. We are working on new materials. We are working on new movement as well, and on upgrading the collection. The idea is always to continue to upgrade, to continue to inject creativity, innovation, and the continuous technical upgrading of the watch. This is our obsession in order to have the continuous improvement and offer always something new, but respecting the codes of the brand.